Hey guys, it's Ian at the Auto Barn, and today I'm showing you guys why the 2025 Jetta is the best sedan on the market right now. So when I say the best sedan on the market right now, I mean one thing and one thing only. There's no sedan on the market that you can get for this price that has this much to it. And to be completely honest, you can get sedans that are actually much more expensive, maybe $5,000 to $10,000 dollars more expensive, and it's still not as good as this vehicle. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about a few different things: the interior, exterior, performance, tech, and the features, and then also the price comparison versus other vehicles. So to give a little bit of context, there's 5 different trim levels when it comes to the 2025 Jetta. This one right here is the Jetta SE. And so the trim level in order goes from the entry level S trim, then it goes to Sport, then it goes to SE, which is this right here. Then it goes to the SEL, and then it goes to the GLI Autobahn. So there's 2 different engines that Volkswagen offers with the Jetta in 2025. The first engine is the 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, which this one has right here. And there's also the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine called the EA888, which I believe they have in the Atlas and also the Tiguan as well. And that comes on the GLI Autobahn. But on all the other trims, this one has the 1.5 liter engine. That being said, outside of the difference in engine, although this is not the GLI Autobahn, which is obviously the more sporty version of the Jetta, these vehicles feel quite sporty, even without all that stuff to it. And I'm going to go into that a little bit later, but before we go into that, let's look at the exterior. You guys can see this thing looks very, very clean. You know, we have this aggressive looking front lip that's chrome all over. You can see the front bumper looks very nice. And even on the hood, you can see these little bulges right here and here that make it add a little bit of, to it. Outside of that, this vehicle is very nice. It has the body color matching cladding. This vehicle itself has the black wheel package, which, adds a little bit more to it. That looks pretty nice. And as you can see, there's no plastic on the fenders either. When it comes to the sunroof, this vehicle comes with a sunroof, which always looks quite nice. Then we head to the back, and you can see the Jetta with the VW logo and these beautiful looking lighting, right? And for a better view of the diffuser, this is what it looks like right here. So when it comes to the interior of this vehicle, might as well start with the trunk, because look at how much space this thing has to it. It's absolutely insane. And if we want to show you how much more space this vehicle has, when you flip down the seats, you can just see how absolutely massive this trunk space is. I mean, if you were ever in a bad financial situation, you could roll up a bed or a sleeping bag in here and have some sweet dreams, man. This is more than enough space to have in a 4-door sedan. So the space is not only reserved for the trunk, we still have a ton of space in this second row, as you can see right here. I was driving the vehicle comfortably with my seat like this, and it's not even all the way forward either. It kind of looks like it is because the steering wheel, that's how I drive really. But you can see how much room there is between my knees and the seating right in front of me. And I'm about 5'9", 5'10" on a good day. And you can see I have quite a bit of room. Not only that, is that when you look at the seats, these seats are extremely comfortable. They're bucketed in a nice way. And if you look, it's a little bit hard to see on camera, but if you look right here, you can see how soft these seats really are. When it comes to the interior of this vehicle, in the front 2 seats, you get a continuation of these very comfortable seats. You get this really soft trim once again along the entirety of the dashboard. Even on the left side of the steering wheel, you have this nice shifter as well, which you can use for Tiptronic, for manual shifting, as you can see on the dashboard, which is cool. And you got a lot of other stuff too, like this little wireless charger, this nice wide rear view mirror that's auto dimming. And if you can see these buttons right here, you can actually connect your garage key fob buttons too. So you can automatically open the garage door with this. As you can see, we also have a nice sunroof. I will say one complaint is the manual shade, but that's not too big of a deal, I'll say. But these seats are extremely comfortable. And another aspect that's quite nice, that these seats are heated. And not only that, but they also have the lumbar support, which is something that you can't live without once you get it, right? That being said, it's a little bit hard for me to demonstrate how comfortable this vehicle is with you guys only watching this through a screen, right? So let me just explain it like this. There's many different things when it comes to a vehicle that make it so valuable, right? There might be the performance of it. There might be the reliability. There might be the economy, fuel-wise, right? There might be the comfort or safety or something else that I didn't mention yet. The reason why I love the Jetta so much is that it has all of that stuff to it, and it still sticks with such a competitive price range that is just crazy that we're actually selling this vehicle. And there's a lot of different ways I want to show it to you guys, and I'm gonna really do it right now as well. One thing I like to explain before I kind of get started with that is that Volkswagen is such an underrated company because it's able to pass down all these luxury and performance features to its customers because it already has the companies that it owns engineering that stuff. Like, for example, Bentley, Audi, Lamborghini, all three of those companies are owned by Volkswagen, engineer their own technology, whether it's comfort, whether it's performance, whether it's whatever it might be, build quality. In any of those cases, all of that stuff, when it comes to engineering the manufacturing stuff or engineering the technology itself, has already been paid for, meaning that Volkswagen can honestly pass it down to the customers without substantially raising the price of these vehicles. And that's why you see no other companies able to provide a vehicle like this one that I'm sitting in right now for anywhere close to, you know, even within like $10,000 of the same price. You know, none of those vehicles compare, and I'll show you why. Start off with safety. When it comes to any type of collision, whether it's a front end collision, rear end collision, look at how much space you have for the crush zone. You have it from starting at the windshield to the front bumper, and same with the back, right? You have that much room. But if you were to look at how much room you have in a side collision, it's really not that much. That being said, every millimeter matters when it comes to the space between the seat and the side pillar. And if you look at Volkswagen versus any other company, not many companies will allow you to put your whole shoulder between the B pillar and the seat. That being said, every millimeter matters when it comes to letting the airbags go off. Every millimeter gives the airbags extra time. And that doesn't just apply to the driver's seat or the front passenger seat. It applies to every single seat in this vehicle. You can see right here, this amount of space is incredible, right? But you don't even have to look at that either. These back seats are also stainless steel framed or reinforced by steel, I mean. That being said, if they did an experiment of 200 pounds of luggage in the back seat or in the trunk of a vehicle, and they crashed it into a wall at, I believe, 60 miles per hour. And the test essentially shows that under high stress, these seats won't fold forward and crush the passengers that are sitting in them if they have a whole bunch of luggage in the back seat. On top of that, when you look at this B pillar right here, you can see that it's quite wide, quite thick. In the case of an accident, all of that energy will be divided sideways, also into the roof, into the floor as well. It allows the energy of the impact to be divided a lot more evenly and not at a certain focus point to where it'll just crush the passenger right there. And let me add one more thing to it. The framing of this vehicle is single seam welded. What that means is, and I'll use an example to explain it. If you take one stick that's broken in half, you glue it back together. You take another stick that's broken into 10 different pieces and glue those 10 pieces together into a stick. If you take both of those sticks and then with the same force, hit them against a table, which one is more likely to shatter? It's going to be the one that was broken into all those different pieces. That being said, the framing of this vehicle is single seam welded, meaning that it's a lot more rigid. In the case of an accident, the passengers are not going to be crushed because it's a lot stronger. You know, there's needs for crush zones, but when it comes to the space where the passengers are in, you don't want that space to be crushed. Outside of that, when it comes to the framing of the vehicle over many, many miles, that means that, you know, at 50,000 miles or at 0 miles, you're not going to hear creaking around the frame of the vehicle like you might in some of these, you know, Japanese cars, to be completely honest. I already went over comfort, I already went over space, but let me also go into dependability. You can see this vehicle has a combined 33 miles per gallon, 29 in the city, 40 in the highway. This is a luxury feeling vehicle and it takes regular gas. Let me say that again. This vehicle has a ton of the same engineering of all these luxury companies that I already mentioned, like Audi, Lamborghini, Bentley, and yet it takes regular gas. That's crazy. And so when it also comes to the features about this vehicle, has keyless access, which you can see right there. Has the lumbar support. Has the heated seats. Has eco mode. Has auto start stop off. Has sport mode. If you bring the shifter down here, as you can see, it's in drive. You shift back once more, and now it's in sport mode. There's so much about this vehicle that's just amazing. And like I said, this is an extremely reliable engine too. You know, I really haven't seen too many issues about this vehicle, really at all. When it comes to the performance of this vehicle, like I already mentioned, this is quite a small engine, but it still packs quite a punch. This has 158 horsepower, 184 pounds-feet of torque. And mind you, that might not sound like a lot, but this vehicle is low to the ground. It's extremely fun. It has an amazing suspension to it. So when you drive it, it feels very stiff and very sporty. And I can even show you guys that to show you guys how it feels. But this vehicle feels so good relative towards what it might seem like it is on paper. Mind you, let me also add that in the wheel well, they use felt instead of hard plastic, meaning that you're not only getting a comfortable ride in terms of the interior materials and everything like that, you're getting a quiet ride. You might be going to work, you might be driving anywhere, but you're not going to be stressed out because you're hearing clicks and clanks every 5 seconds while you're on the road. Like I said, this vehicle is quite zippy. You know, I'm not going to do too much in it because there's, as you can see, a big semi truck in the lot. But if I was to just go in straight line for half a second with my foot on the gas, you can definitely hear the engine in that scenario, right? And let me put on my seatbelt in a second. But this vehicle is quite low to the ground. It's quite responsive when you're making these kind of weird turns. It feels really nice. I will admit that you could kind of, you know, see the turbo lag because this vehicle is turbocharged. You could definitely see it in that scenario because I had my foot on the gas for a second and it didn't go off all the way. That being said, it still feels really amazing to drive. It's not like the average sedan where you're just kind of like just an A to B car. This feels really nice. And I always love doing test drive with customers with this vehicle because they're always surprised and always enthusiastic about this vehicle after driving it. Because it's not just only like zippy feeling, it's just also sporty too. And it feels just really, like I said, responsive. Really another cool thing about this car is that all the trims are actually quite different. You know, the base S trim has essentially only the essentials to, you know, get from A to B. Sport has some additional things to it. Although it doesn't have a lot of the same tech, it still has some of the performance stuff like a cross differential, which is pretty cool. Then you have the SE, which is this one, which has a pretty mixed bag with a lot of the cool stuff on the screen, the sunroof, you know, some of the nice convenience features like the lumbar support, the heated seats, and all that stuff. Mind you, this whole setup right here is standard on all the vehicles, but you know, might as well just kind of explain it a little bit more. But then you also have the SEL that has all of the, you know, the tech related stuff on the vehicle, but it's just not as sporty as the GLI. And then GLI has all the tech and all of the performance all mixed into one bag to have everything all at once, which is a really nice vehicle in of itself. And so there's just so much variety with all these different trims that you can really get what you pay for. You're not just paying $2,000 more for a different trim level in name only. You're actually getting a lot more for everything with this vehicle. And each trim level feels like a hell of a bang of the buck for, you know, going up maybe $1,000, $2,000. That being said, let me just kind of introduce you to what price is looking like with these vehicles. As you can see with the 2025 Jetta SE 1.5 liter engine, The total manufacturer suggested retail price is $28,446, right? Typically, we do not sell these cars for this expensive, and this one has a lot of additions like the black wheel package, the sunroof, and other things along the same line. However, even in this case, for $28,446 even, what other car can you get with all of this amazing stuff to it? What other car? You won't be able to find one at Toyota or at Subaru or at Ford or at Honda that you can find in this price that has all of the luxury, all the reliability, all the comfortability, all of the space, everything about this vehicle, and also the amazing appearance of it. You know, you can't find a vehicle within this price range that has all those things. And mind you, this is one of the more expensive models. You can get one that's $22,000. And at some places, if they're like heavily discounted and stuff, you might be able to get that for out the door. I'm not gonna say we do that, because usually it'll end up maybe $23,000, $24,000 for a Jetta S. But even then, it's so incredible when it comes to how things are going, when it comes to prices nowadays. There's no other car like this on the market. I'm telling you guys, please listen to me. You won't be able to find it that looks this good, that feels this good, that is this comfortable, that has this much space, that's also this economical, while also this reliable, and also this sporty. All in one package, and all for that low of a price. Never are you gonna find another car like this, and I promise you that. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. For information about this car in particular, I'm gonna have my contact information right here, because of course these vehicles are for sale. We have quite a few Jetta SEs and other trim levels as well if you're interested in those too. I'm also gonna put some extra information in the description below that has some, information about our inventory and all that stuff. I would like for you guys to like and subscribe when you guys have the chance, or actually do it right now, because I want some more followers on this page. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys learned something today. Have a nice one. Bye.